Great piece of Behayani. So, like, if you're someone who knows about farming in Africa, you know, I was like 275 pounds, like, I want to say like 3 months ago. Now I'm 249. I'm 249 right now. And I think a large part of that goes to not only me being active, but the foods I've been eating, right? I've been eating foods like, dandelion, straight from Africa, right? Grown in Africa, powdered in Africa. I've been eating foods like beet powder. I love the beet powder more than the dandelion powder because it's sweeter and because it has a purple color. Um, I don't know how they grow their stuff, but like I always try to look at their farmer markets. Um, like what right here, stuff like this. They always have fresh foods. So the thing that I decided to do, right? I just decided like I'm going to order their food wholesale from Africa. That's what I've been doing. I found a company that ships their food and I've been eating their food, particularly, their supplements. So I've been eating it, right? And the beet powder, particularly, right? I've just been eating the beet powder. I've been using the aloe vera. I've been using the soap. Trying to find people who are, in that industry where they're connecting the Pan African cooperation between the countries of America and Africa, those particular two continents, because I want to support whatever Africa has going on. I want to support it, right? That's how we strengthen our economies and our relationships. So when you look at this, right, and you see stuff like this right here, and you see stuff like this, like the seeds that they use, the vegetable solutions that they use, the fruit solutions that they use, um, the crop liquids that they use, right, to put down on the soil when they bed the seeds. It's something in that basically allows the food to grow, and when you eat it, like it keeps weight off. Because I don't see obesity in Africa at all. I only see obesity in America. I only see obesity in America. I don't see obesity in Africa really. You may see, like people who are big bone, like they have like strong physiques, you know what I mean? Strong physiques, like, people in Nigeria and people in Ghana, right? But like a majority of a lot of, people who live in Africa, right? The majority of them, like, they're very in shape. Like you see Ethiopians, they run track like no other. Kenyans, they run track like no other. You know, like the seeds that they're using, like it's something that they're doing with their agriculture that's saying they can grow these type of plantains, they can grow these type of bananas, they can grow these type of potatoes, they can grow these type of tomatoes, these mangoes, they can grow this stuff. You see what I mean? You see her, she's the right size, right? He's the perfect size, right? She works, right? She's the right size, you know. So like you'll see this in like consumers, right? Consumers. Like the woman right here, she's a consumer, right? I'm a consumer. When you see consumers, right, we usually have a little bit of weight on us. But you notice like the ones who are uh in the industry caters, like sellers, businessmen, entrepreneurs. they're usually in tip-top shape. You see her, she probably grows this stuff, or at least she picks it, which means she has her own economy somewhere, right? She knows where to get the fruit from. She knows, who can have access to it. Like, she has her own sector, you know? She has her own sector, So I don't know if I did a video on this, though, but I have some beet powder, right? And it comes from Africa. Like, if you can find some food because essentially it's food, right? It's food. It's dried. Beets are considered a vegetable. So it's like a dried vegetable, right? It's powdered, right? You get it for a good price, around a good bag, like a good pound of it, right? You get it for a cheap price. And it's not something that you get it from, a retailer that's, basically short-scaping you, right? It's not that. Like, they're shipping the food over here, right? And the food is doing wonders. Me personally, I don't really care for American agriculture if I'm not in it. Like, if I'm not growing my food, I don't want Monsanto to grow my food. I don't really want fruit from Mexico. Because I don't know how they're growing it. I would rather have food imported from Africa. The regular person who is just on the street, they know the business. They know the business of how to grow food. The regular person in Africa. So you're not going to get some major chain in Africa that's importing food from somewhere and they're selling you bad food. You know what I mean? Like the doctor was telling me yesterday, she was like, well, it seems like if you're not eating right, you would essentially be stopping your metabolism. And I'm like, only time I don't eat is when I fast. And I haven't fasted in a long time. I've just been eating fruits and vegetables. Like I haven't, like, only time I see like chicken or fish or something like that, or, a beef roast or, something that's like processed is if my family is cooking it. But I don't eat their food. Like if I'm eating something like for dinner that, it's going to be a big meal, if I'm cracking open the black eyed peas, I'm eating that myself. I'm putting onion powder on it. I'm putting garlic powder on it. I'm putting fennel seeds on it. I'm putting olive oil on my black eyed peas. I'm eating that myself. I'm eating it myself. I'm not frying chicken. I'm not frying fish. I'm not baking ham. I fix my food and I prepare it the way I want it to be prepared. So I would rather live like, this, like I can just go into the forest over here, over there. Like you see their environment, man. Like Americans wish they could live like this. I don't care about, the food is scarce. I don't care about any of that. Like those stereotypes, I don't care about that. You go to the average American neighborhood in some of these cities, they don't have shrubs. They don't have trees that's been like in full bloom for a year. After those 3 months, here comes the winter. Here comes fall. Those trees are going to be branches. They have the entire economy that you need in order to be vibrant. And like anybody just can't go to their countries. Even if you look like them, you just can't go to their countries. You just can't go to their countries. Because they're either going to high sell you, which means they know you have money, right? So that means they're going to make sure they get as much money out of you as can, if they can. And like I've sensed this, right? I've sensed this talking to some people from there, right? They don't like the fact that, people have money and they're not sharing it, right? They don't like that. So you just can't come to a country and think you're just going to assimilate to the point where you're going to carry that American lifestyle over there. Like, even when you look at America, right? The majority of business chains are ran by, who? People who are doing business with Chinese and Chinese immigrants and Korean immigrants. They're doing businesses and ventures with people who are from those areas. If you want to go buy some denim jeans or something like that from Target or something, you look on that tag, it's going to say made somewhere else. So the first thing that Americans have to do in order to ensure survival, they have to make sure that they're solving this problem of climate change. Climate change is not, the earth is heating up, we're about to get burned out. No, the earth, it needs to heat up. You look at this past winter, we didn't really have snow. In the Midwest, we really didn't have snow. They need to figure out how they can keep some of these states hot year round. They need to figure that out. Like, you mean to tell me we're in 2025 and the government still haven't figured out how they're going to keep Illinois air, hot temperature throughout the 12 months? Like, they need to figure out, what is this stuff that they're using, like they're normal citizens, right? The farmers, they can go to their stores in their local villages and get these things. This stuff right here, they sell this stuff. I've seen this stuff on the job websites. I've seen this stuff right here. So they need to figure out, how can they make a place like Illinois hot all 12 months? How can they make a place like Michigan hot all 12 months? How can they make a place like Pennsylvania hot all 12 months? They need to figure that out. Because the people over here, they enrich with this melanin right here, and they need the sun 12 months out of the year. Like, if you're in a house from September to March, that's too much. And then when you're outside, right, the more cold weather that passes you during a month like December, right, January, February, March, your embryo cells are closing, which means they're not getting enough sunlight. So this means you stand a chance of getting sick higher, and you also stand a chance of having, mental health issues. Oh, we have problems with mental health. Well, that's because the sun is not out in America 12 months of the year. It's not. Like, if your cellular energy is closed in a month like March, and it's getting ready to open in April and June and May, well, you need to figure out, how can you keep the weather hot all year round? And that's the thing that I want to push for. That's the thing I want to push for. I want to push for making America hot 12 months out the year. I want to push for that, because, like, we're truly not going to get people interested in farming until that actually happens. Like, what? I think Africa only gets 2 seasons, and that's summer and spring, which means it's raining during spring and it's hot during the summer. And, like, those seasons are divided into 2 seasons. Like, we got to figure that out.
The popular urban areas into actually the food producing communities. Everything is so great. So I am so excited about this. I have found supplies for most of the things that I will need. And that will be it for this episode. I can't wait for all of this to come together. Thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode.
You see what I mean? Like, think about that. If they want to make a fast food cuisine or something like that, all they have to do is get milk from their herds. If they want to make a fast food cuisine, all they have to do is slaughter one of their cattle. And like, you don't even have to do that. Like, think of how much ingenuity is in America, right? Throughout the summer months that we do get. We can have these in cities like Detroit, right? Keeping the grass low. We can have turkey and peacocks walking all around, right? And if someone gets hungry, all they have to do is be taught how to slaughter a turkey. But essentially, you don't want to do that, but you can teach someone how to do something like that, right? Take the feathers out, decorate yourself with the feathers. That could be a signal. Okay, well, this person, he eats turkey. You know what I mean? If you have 2 of them in his hair, or they have 3 of them in their hair, right? Person that just has 1 turkey means he sacrifices the turkey. Like, there's ways you can kind of encode your tradition to be like it used to be, right? Because essentially only Africa has that type of, tradition, as we speak right now, among other places. So I'm all for climate change. I'm all for solving genocide in places like Detroit and Chicago. I'm all for, and don't get me wrong, right? We could always have migrations to the South, but it's like, what about the North? I would rather live in the South, like right now. I would rather, if I didn't have a house, right? If I didn't have my house, I would move to the South right now. I would find a place in Georgia, maybe northern Georgia. I would move to the South right now. I don't believe in, always having to live in snow. That stuff takes a toll on your mental health. This is why all the people who are out of shape, who deal with obesity and stuff like that and diabetes, they're all in the North. All the people in the South, right? They have more to do. The people in the South have more to do. The people in North, like if you live in Detroit, right, you really have nothing to do. Everything has a zoning code. Everything has an infraction. It's like, if you're going to complain about the grass being high, right? If you're going to complain about that, like, at least make it to where, the people have the option of telling you that they're going to use this as, a settlement, which means they can grow their own food. They can grow what they want. They can domesticate whatever herd, whatever mammal, whatever cattle that they want to, domesticate. At least give them the option to tell you that. And they're doing that with the land bank. But even with the land bank, right, they don't have any say so what happens with your house. They just have say so what happens with the land that they're selling. So I want to see more happen. I want to see more people get involved in climate change. I want to see more migrations to the South. That's what I want to see. But that's the thing, I'm setting myself up for it though. Like, if I come to a chance where my house is paid off, right, I only have like, I think I only have like 60,000 more to pay off on my house. Like if I come up with a grant and I can pay my house off with, I would pay it off and move someone in my house where they can just start paying me rent, right? And I would move down south. Like here, you're responsible for all the repairs. You're responsible for this, for this, for this. Whatever I said you are not responsible for, you're responsible for that. You know? And I would leave someone up here in charge of, my house to make sure that nothing happens that's not supposed to happen, where I have to make an emergency trip back up here. You see?